Okay. Right, so let's start by lying on our backs. So this is week 2, we're still keeping it reasonably, oh hang on, somebody else waiting to come. Annabelle. Let's just get her in. Go. Okay, so week 2, still taking it a little bit more gently and just working really on looking at the poses and the alignment and focusing on building the strength and flexibility, ready to pick it up a bit next week. So we'll start by lying down on our backs. We'll take the soles of the feet together, allow the knees to fall out to the side. And we'll just start to observe the body, starting at the tips of the toes, just tracking up through the body. Work at your own pace, just noticing how the body is feeling as a whole today. And then beginning to tune into more specific areas, especially where you know you hold tightness and tension. Just beginning to soften and relax. Really just taking a moment to come into your body, to bring your mind and body together. Finding that unity between the two. So when I'm body scanning at the beginning of a class, I always try and shift from a state where I am intellectually observing my body. So that's when my mind is separate from my body and I'm noticing it. So I'm feeling tightness in my shoulders, or I'm noticing that my jaw is clenched. And it's almost like a conversation I'm having from outside of my body. I'm noticing and observing with my mind. And that's quite a cerebral way of experiencing the body. And it's normally the starting point where we come to when we're quite new to this experience of being in the body. But as you get more subtle with the practice, as you get more deeply into this conscious state of the union between the body and the mind, it becomes much more proprioceptive. And by that I mean that instead of intellectualizing what you're noticing in the body, it's more sensory. So as you're moving your awareness up through the body, you're not labeling or commenting or even trying to attach words to what you find. You are just sensing. It's a very sensual experience just to move up the body, checking in with specific areas and just feeling your way. And that's really what I mean about this union between the body and the mind, is that instead of it becoming the two being separate and one noticing the other, that you are actually just one unit and you are really just sensing, feeling and being all those sensations of comfort, discomfort, tightness or flexibility, ease or stress, that you are just being those things. You're not trying to label them or be separate from them. So I hope that makes sense. It's quite difficult to put it into words and you'll either have no idea what I'm talking about, in which case that's fine, or you may have an inkling of that sort of more subtle awareness as you body scan this evening. And really you carry that into the yoga practice as your practice becomes more advanced. So instead of observing and noticing your body moving through poses, or even having a dialogue in your mind about what posture you're in and where your foot should be and where your hands should be, and that's a very external experience of the yoga. So instead you start to shift it to just a great deal more of a unity. So when you're moving through poses, you just have an awareness of where the leg needs to be. You have a sensation of whether the shoulder's positioned correctly. And you just have a knowledge of your breath that's going on without intellectualizing it or labeling it. So in our practice this evening, I want you to just focus a little bit more on that experience as you're moving from pose to pose, not trying to observe it from outside and not trying to converse with it from your mind, but just trying to really be in it and notice how it really feels. So being inside the yoga more. So with that in mind, just become more aware of your breath. Just allow the breath to deepen and lengthen. And again, it's an experience of the breath, not a description of the breath. So you're just really feeling that breath deepen and lengthen itself. You sort of ride that breath. And then as you deepened and lengthened the breath, just have an awareness of the breath drawing from the base upwards. It starts in the root of the body. And then as you breathe upwards, you fill up section by section through the body into your full yoga breath. And then as you exhale from the top, slowly emptying all the way to the belly. So a few rounds here of full yoga breath, breathing into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest, and exhaling from the chest, from the ribs, from the belly. Inhaling into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. Exhaling from the chest, from the ribs, from the belly. Inhale into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. Exhale the chest and the ribs and the belly. Just take a couple more rounds of full yoga breath. And then we'll just hug the knees into the chest. And just rock gently from side to side, feeling the lower back just releasing into the floor. And we'll start with a few warm-up stretches, taking the arms wide, dropping the knees to the right, turning the gaze to the left, and just having an awareness of the body as a whole in this pose. Breathing into areas where it's tight, expanding into areas where you can grow a little with your breath. And then pulling the belly in and bringing the knees up and over to the other side. And again, really stretching out through the fingertips. Squeezing the shoulder blade back into the earth and just feeling that twist through the spine. And then placing the feet flat to the floor, crossing right ankle over left knee, pulling the left knee into the chest. Push the hip from side to side, loosening into the right hip and buttock muscle. Connecting back to your breath. And then extending the right leg up to the sky and lengthening into the hamstring stretch. Keep pressing the heel away and lengthening into the back of the knee. And we'll switch sides. So right foot down, left ankle crosses over. And then just allow the hips to open as you breathe into the stretch. And then extending the left leg up into the hamstring stretch. Again, just really noticing how the body feels as a whole here. Just being really aware of what's going on through the back of the leg. So you just breathe the length into it. Good, let's move it to happy baby pose, grabbing the outsides of the feet and dropping the knees into the armpits. Let's rock up to sitting. We'll extend the legs out in front. We'll come into a forward fold, using this stretch to open the back and shoulder muscles. Reach the hands to the feet. Great, let's swing the legs around and come to 4-point kneeling. Take a few rounds of cat-cow on your own, just working at the pace of your breath. Making that breath and movement synchronized at the same duration. Full breaths in and full breaths out. And this is a really good place to become very connected to the movement through the spine. The spine and the breath so connected. They are so at one. If you find you're very tight through your spine, it's very likely the breath will be short and shallow and tight as well. Once we create flexibility and movement through the spine, we can really start to allow the breath to open up. You especially notice this at the beginning of the day, when you first wake up, that need to stretch out all the tightness in the body and expand and lengthen the spine allows the breath to move a little bit more freely. Let's stretch it back into child's pose, reaching the hands forwards, lengthening the arm lines, the shoulders, the back muscles. So moving in child's pose, you're just going to really extend the hands forwards and we'll move to plank from here. So from child, you can tuck your toes under and then sit back on the heels once again. And then from there, just press yourself to plank and then drop the knees and sink back to child's pose. And do that a couple more times. We're going to press to plank from child, then drop the knees and sink the hips back. Now, if you want to modify your plank, you just leave the knees on the floor and come forwards, but make sure your hips are down and not back as if you're doing 4-point kneeling. So you've got a long, flat spine and your shoulders are over your wrists. And then we come back to child, keep the toes tucked, and then we'll just walk the hands back and enjoy a stretch through the soles of the feet, working through the plantar fascia for a moment. Take a couple of breaths, open the window. And we'll bring the hands down, step the right foot through and come to a lunge. Sink the hips, lift the chest. Settle into the breathing again. And then we'll place the left palm down, reach up through the right hand. As I always say, make sure that twist comes from the shoulders. So lift up and out of the left shoulder and draw the right shoulder back to create rotation through the spine. And then reach for the back foot. If you can add the quadricep stretch in. Let's switch sides, stepping back the right leg, stepping forward the left leg, sinking the hips, lifting the chest. And then pressing the right palm down and lifting up through the left fingertips as you begin to rotate the heart. And then reaching for the back foot, adding in the quadricep stretch if that's available to you. And then we'll step back to downward facing dog, and you can just start to pedal out the feet in your down dog. So just take a moment to think again about what I was trying to explain at the beginning of class. So here in down dog, you could be having this sort of conversation. Now I know in dog, my hands need to be spread and I'm pushing down through my palms, and then I've got to squeeze my shoulders away from my ears, pushing the heels away, lifting up through the hips. I wonder if I'm stepping back far enough, whether my hips need to push up a bit higher. And that sort of conversation in the yoga pose is useful if you are new to yoga, or you're new to the pose that you're working in, or you're working very one-to-one with a teacher and you're trying to really hone down on the alignment of the posture or really clean it up. So there's definitely a place for that sort of a conversation in yoga. But what I'm looking for this evening is much more of a sensory experience. So I'm here in down dog and I'm just really feeling my way. Do I feel like my spine is long? Do I feel relaxed? Do I feel like my legs are supported and long? And how am I feeling with my breath? And so instead of trying to intellectualize the pose too much, I'm just sensing my way into it. Because really, once you've been practicing yoga for a little while, the body knows where the pose should be. The body has a sense of whether the pose is deep or shallow, whether it's misaligned or whether it's correct. And as you start to practice a more advanced yoga practice, you begin to trust that experience more. So just sit in silence in down dog for just a moment and just really feel your way into it. Just feel if the body today can deepen into it. Can it release into the pose? Can you feel like you can lengthen the pose at all? Or do you feel like you need to stay quite shallow so you're not very warm yet? Is there discomfort in any part of your body here in this pose? Are you feeling your shoulders aching? Or is there any problems with the knees or lower back? So it's a feeling, a sensation of where the pose needs to be. And for all of us, that will be different. Some of you will have tighter hamstrings than me. Some of you may have an ankle issue or an injury in your hand. And so whatever is guiding your body tonight will affect the pose that you hold. And it just becomes a sensation, a conversation between your consciousness and your body instead of with your intellect and your body. So I've said enough on that really, but I would love you to explore that more, both when you're alone in your practice, if you do self-practice, and also as you move through some of these poses this evening. And for now, we'll just walk the feet towards the hands, coming to the front of the mat. We'll take a forward fold and just sense and feel our way into the hamstring stretch, using the breath to guide us. And just sense and feel where the body wants to go with this posture tonight. Or indeed where it wants to go right now, which may be different from where it wants to go later in the class. And then we'll release the hands and we'll roll up through the spine. Coming up to stand, we'll inhale, the arms float up. As we exhale, we'll bring the hands to the heart. Close the eyes and just really recenter yourself with your body and breath. And release, and a little shake out, and we'll move into our sun salutations. So 3 rounds of sun salutations. The new moves, as explained last week, we're going to do child's pose to plank, as we did in the warm-up there, or you can take child to chaturanga once your shoulders feel warm enough, or of course you can just take it to modified plank, but making sure that your hips are down there. And then we're going to take some crouching dogs later. From down dog, hovering the knees off the floor. The deeper you go, the harder the posture. So if you want to keep it simple this evening, you just bend the knees a little way. Let's come to the front of the mat, finding the breath. When you're ready, let's inhale, floating the arms up. Exhale, dive your way forwards. Stepping the right leg back, we'll take the knee down. We'll inhale up to our low lunge. Exhale, take the pulse. 2 more. Inhale, hips lift. Exhale, sink hips. 1 more time. Exhale, stay here in a deep lunge as you take an inhale and just really feel the posture here. Where does the body want to go? Does it want to hold back because there's tightness? Or does it want to deepen and lengthen because it can? Inhale again. Exhale, release the hands down. Inhale, stepping to plank. Just find your plank. Again, you don't need to intellectualize it too much. Just sense and feel your way into your plank. And some days you'll feel tired in the shoulders or weak in the arms. You may need those knees to release to the floor. Other days, you may really feel fired up and strong through your core. You may really want to take that plank a little bit higher, a little bit firmer, a little bit deeper. So just feel where the plank is for you today. And then as you inhale, push forwards over the wrists. Exhale, knees, chest, hover the chin, and just really sense the strength through the arms, releasing down to the floor. We'll take a cobra. And again, feel your back bend. Sense how the spine is. Where's the tightness? Where's the freedom? And just breathe into that posture. Breathe into the spine opening. And then we'll press back to child's pose, tucking the toes under as you go. Take a breath here. And then inhale your way either to plank or modified plank or chaturanga. And then coming back to downward facing dog. So here in dog, just once again, find yourself, find your feet, find your hands, find your breath. And just feel the pose in both its freedoms and in its restrictions. And then just be a body in a pose. Let's pulse our way a little deeper through those restrictions. We'll inhale up onto the toes. Exhale, squeezing the heels to the earth. 2 more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, squeezing down. 1 more time. And then squeeze the heels to the earth. And we'll take 3 crouching dogs. Again, just listen to how your body wants to get into this pose, how deep it wants to go. You can inhale here. And as you exhale, you hover the knees. Inhale, pushing back to plank. Exhale, sink the knees down. 1 more time. And then if your body's feeling strong tonight, you can just hold the hover with the knees as close to the mat as you feel able. And just really sense how the core needs to be engaged to support you here. And make those gentle adjustments to the body to really support the strength in this posture. And then we'll press back into downward facing dog. We're going to step the right foot back between the hands. You can drop the knees if your body requires that. Lower, back leg lowers to the floor. Inhale, rising up. We'll find the pulse on this side. Exhale, hips sink down. 2 more. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, pulsing down. 1 more. And then again, just take a few breaths to really be in this posture because it is a deep pose. There's a lot going on in the hips as you lunge down here. And you'll either feel those restrictions in the hip flexor, or you may feel through the breath some freedom being created, some space in that hip area. So you just be with it, notice it, breathe into it. And then we'll bring the hands down. Good. Stepping the back foot forwards, inhale, half lift, and then exhale, running the hands down the legs, and start to feel your way into your hamstrings. So again, it's not an intellectual discussion about the tightness of the backs of your legs. It's more a sense of how you can work the breath and how you can soften areas of the body, How you can feel your way into more freedom at the back of the body. Good, let's release the hands, we'll roll up through the spine, inhaling the arms floating up. Stretch and reach and feel how long you can grow. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do the other side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, diving to the earth. Stepping the left leg back, we'll go straight into 3 pulses. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, pulsing down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulse. 1 more. And hands come straight to the floor. Inhale, stepping to plank. Just notice the strength of the core, the alignment of the plank, the feeling of being strong here through the body. And then pushing through the toes, knees, chest, top of the chin, dropping down. Inhale, finding that back bend, maybe coming up a bit higher, finding freedom in your spine. And then pressing back to child, tucking the toes under and settling the breath. And then coming forwards either into plank or into chaturanga before finding your downward facing dog. We'll go straight into crouching dog from here. So inhale first and then exhale, hover the knees and feel the strength in the core. Inhale, back up to dog. Exhale, connect to that core. 1 more time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hover the knees, an option to hold it there and really experience the power in the legs, because the leg muscles are big, strong muscles and you're really working them hard here. So you can really be with that strength for a moment, feel the warmth, feel the burn, and then moving back to dog. We're going to step lunge the left foot back between the hands, dropping the back knee, coming straight up, 3 pulses, inhale, lift. Exhale, sink the hips. 2 more, inhale, rise. Exhale, pulse. 1 more. Exhale, bring the hands straight down. Inhale, stepping the back foot in, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. So just take a breath or 2 to just feel your way deeper into this. Finding that length, that release. And then we'll release the arms, roll up through the spine. Inhale, the arms float up. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a deep breath in. Now we'll go again. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step the right leg back, drop the knee again and come up to low lunge with an inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart and twist, hooking the right elbow outside the left knee, and then just feel your way into your twist. So sense how your body can deepen into this. Just allow the body to move in a way that allows it to get the deepest expression that it can from this pose. And for each of us, that's different. Feel your way into a deeper twist. And then just sense where you need power and control to bring you back up to a low lunge with as much strength and control as you can. Exhale, releasing the hands down, we'll step it to plank. Exhale, push through the toes, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, back bend of choice, up dog or cobra. And then to a tucked toed child pose and rest there. So we're coming to our 3 pulses now. So you're going to take 3 child poses to plank, or child to modify plank, or child to chaturanga. So we'll inhale, move to plank or chaturanga, exhale back to child. 2 more, inhale forwards, exhale back. Last time, inhale forwards, and this time straight to dog, exhale back. From your downward facing dog, you can crouch or you can just hang out in dog. So you exhale, you hover the knees, you inhale and you move back to dog. Exhale, crouch. Inhale, back to dog. One more. An option to hover in that crouch for a breath or two, really noticing the burn in the legs and the strength in the quads. And then we'll come back to down dog. Lifting your right leg up into single-legged dog this time, and enjoying that hip stretch and that opening into the left hamstring and hip, and just feeling your way deeper into that rotation of the hip. Just sensing how you can just pick up that, rotate the hip just a fraction more to deepen into that movement. And then we're stepping to runner's lunge. So you're keeping the back knee lifted as you step the right foot forwards, and we'll sink the hips down into runner's lunge. So just have a sense of really picking up the back knee here. You just really want to feel length through the back heel and the hips sinking down. So you're getting that really good stretch into the hips, but there's also work in the back quadricep. And then we'll pulse it up to straighten the front leg, and then exhale, sink back into your runner's lunge. Let's take two more. Inhale up, exhale, sink back one more time. Good. And then you can either settle here in a deep lunge or coming up onto the fingertips, taking your forward jump switches, using your core to switch, to pick up the hips and switch the legs. 4 times, light on the feet, and then we'll all come to a twist. So left palm down, right hand up, runner's lunge twist. And again, just feel your way into this posture. Be aware of the hips, the shoulders, the rib cage turning, the breath. Feeling your way deeper into the hips. Feeling your way deeper into the twist. And then we'll bring the hand down as you exhale, and we'll step the feet forwards, and then exhale, coming back into your hamstrings. And again, just breathing your way deeper into that posture. Release the hands, roll up through the spine. Inhale, the arms floating up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Left side, inhale, reach up the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Left leg back and knee goes down, coming straight up to low lunge as you inhale. And then finding the twist, elbow outside knee. And then just come back to your own conscious awareness to slowly lengthen and deepen the posture. You may have a sense of sliding down the elbow towards the ankle. You may have a sense of the shoulders turning, sense of the hips sinking, the sense of the breath just allowing some of that resistance to let go. And then just find that strength through the legs and the core that brings you up with deliberate control to a low lunge. And then we exhale the hands down. Let's step it to plank, and again, reconnect to all those core muscles. Have a feeling of strength. So you're not telling your body where to be strong, you're feeling that strength as it ripples up through all the core muscles. Pushing forwards through the toes, knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and a tucked toed child pose. So 3 pulses to modified plank, to plank, or to chaturanga. You exhale, come forwards. You inhale, back to child. 2 more. And straight to dog on the final one. And settling into your breath, and when you're ready, exhaling, crouching the dog. And inhaling, pressing back up. 2 more. Find that strength in the legs. And then option to hold and hover in your final one. And then we'll meet in a single-legged dog. Left leg lifts up. And just enjoy that stretch into the right hip. Enjoy the rotation as you pick that knee up. And that opening through the hips. And the breath. And then finding your way to runner's lunge in whatever way your body needs to find its way forwards. Then we'll sink the hip and just become aware of that length and strength in the back leg. No dropping, no dipping of the back knee. Just feel the muscles running out all the way to the heel. And then we'll put the pulse in. Inhale, lifting up the front leg. Exhale, sinking down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pulse. 1 more time. Good, and from there you can either settle into a deep lunge or 4 jump switches, light on the feet, core lifting you up each time. And then we'll be meeting in the twist. Right palm down, left hand up. And then just have that sense of the hips sinking, the chest twisting, the shoulders moving away from each other and reaching up through the fingers. Let's bring the hands down, step the back foot in as you inhale, and take that forward fold. Feel your way deeper. And we'll release and we'll roll up through the spine. Inhale the arms, floating up, and we'll bring the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath in. Good, final round. Let's inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, sink the hands down. Step back with the right leg to runner's lunge. Option to stay here or 4 jump switches. Making them perhaps a little faster if you can. And then we'll all float up to high lunge. So you've got the option here of dropping the back knee if high lunge is too much for you. And then just explore it with your breath. I'm going to give you the option here to really decide where you want to go with your high lunge. So you can either settle into the high lunge with a straight back knee. You can settle into the high lunge with a bent back knee. Or you can take 3 pulses up and down with the breath, getting deeper into the hips with each round. And then we'll bring the hands to the floor. We'll step to plank. We'll find that strength in plank. And then lowering knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Up dog or cobra. And tucking your toes back into child's pose. And then you've got your 3 pulses to plank or chaturanga. Exhaling, coming forwards. Inhaling, coming back. And it goes without saying that if you'd rather just rest in child, then that's listening to your body too. And then straight to dog on the final round. And we'll take those 3 crouches. Exhaling, knees hover. Inhaling, picking back up. Or again, resting in down dog. And then we'll take that single-legged dog again, right leg lifts. Option to flip your dog. And then just take a couple of breaths to work into your flip dog. At the beginning, you may have landed a little awkwardly. You may feel a little uncomfortable. And then you just breathe into the pose. Become aware of what needs to adjust to help you hold the pose, breathe in the pose, lengthen and support yourself here. Just feel your way into what is an advanced and slightly awkward posture. And then we'll all meet in single-legged dog. And we're stepping straight to high lunge, right leg comes through, and we'll float the arms up as you inhale, and we're twisting as you exhale. So, hooking the left elbow over the right knee. Again, I want you to feel your way through the options. You can either stay here, hands in prayer, pivoting the heart around. You can attempt to extend the arms away from each other, keeping, please, the elbow outside the knee. Or you can take a bind, dropping the right hand underneath, sorry, the left arm underneath the right thigh and catching the right hand behind the back. And then wherever you are, just breathe into the posture. Notice where you can let go of resistance, where you can deepen, where you can lengthen, and also how you can get more breath in the posture. And then where do you need to hold strength to come back to high lunge without falling out of the pose? Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, stepping forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Enjoy that hamstring stretch. Roll up through the spine. Inhale, the arms float up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Left side, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Step the left leg back to runner's lunge. Option to settle here, or 4 quick jump switches. Light on the feet, and then we'll move up to high lunge. Now again, option to drop the back knee and modify the pose, or an option to drop the back knee and hover in a more advanced variation, or you can take a pulse here and enjoy deepening into the hip flexor. And then we'll meet with hands to floor. We'll inhale to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, find your back bend. And exhale, tuck your toes, child's pose. Reset your breath. And then either settling in child's pose a little longer, or taking your 3 moves to plank or chaturanga. Exhaling forwards, inhaling back. A little bit of extra arm and shoulder work, and then moving straight to dog on the 3rd and final one. Here in down dog, we'll take those crouches or option to hang in dog. And again, how deep you hover those knees is up to you. And whether you hold the final one to really build some strength. And just notice the work in the legs as you do so. And then coming back out of it, we'll take the left leg up. And you've got the option to flip. And then just be here for a few breaths, noticing where the body is resistant, where you can put more power and strength, where you can open up more into your flip dog. Let's meet in single-legged dog. And then we'll step into high lunge, or if you need to walk there, dropping the knees first, just noticing how your body needs to move tonight. Bringing the hands to the heart, elbow outside knee, and finding your twist in your high lunge, either palms together, hands stretching away, or taking a bind. And then just holding that posture, breathing into finding a little more depth in all the variations. And then where do you need strength to bring yourself back up with full control into your high lunge? Hands to the floor. Inhale, step it forwards. And exhale, fold into your forward bend. And just breathe here deepening gently into the posture. And then we'll roll up through the spine, inhaling the arms up, finding Samasthiti. Just close the eyes and just be in your body. Good. Release, shake everything out, grab a drink. So moving on to our balance series now. Again, I really just want you to sense your way into your balances. Balance is a very tricky thing. It's something you cultivate and build, but it's also something that works best when you don't think too much about it. So I really want you to sort of take that lesson this evening. If you're someone who normally wobbles a lot and balancing makes you feel a bit anxious, you feel a bit uneasy, standing on one leg, then today I just want you to try and let go of some of that thinking and just trust your body to be able to stand on one leg and just see where it takes you. Try and move the mind out of the way. Balancing is a really good way to meditate. So standing on one leg, or particularly balancing upside down, headstand, handstand, they're really good places to meditate because it's really hard to think and balance. You kind of have to let go of one or the other. So let's try and let go of the thinking. Let's bring the hands to the heart for a moment. Inhaling, the arms floating up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step the right leg back to runner's lunge. Option for 4 jump switches, light on the feet, swift movements. Finishing with the right leg back, and we're going to come straight to a standing split. So you're going to walk the hands forwards and pick up the back leg and start to find your standing split. So again, I want you to feel your way into the pose. Now for some people, this won't be very deep. The back leg might be quite low, the front knee may be bending, and then you're just working on finding that breath. For others of you, you may start like that, and then as you ease your way into the pose, you might begin to float that back leg higher. You may be able to lengthen the back knee by pointing through the back toes. Begin to feel your way into the front hamstring. Maybe folding your head towards your leg. And just breathing, finding that balance and finding that breath. And then walking the hands forwards a little bit, we're going to come to our connector squat. So you're just going to tap the ankle behind your front ankle and just bend into your knees a little bit here. And we're going to step the right leg out to the side, and then I want you to bend your right leg, please. So we're all going the same way. Make sure it's your right leg that's bending so you continue to move away from your mat. And we're just going to stay with both feet flat on the floor. So you can't see my right foot, but both feet I want parallel and grounding into the mat. So no lifting of toes or heels yet. If hands to floor is too deep, you just bring your hands to your knee and get into those inner groins and that side lunge with the hands up a little higher. And then just take a few breaths, feeling your way into some of these tighter muscles in the inner thighs. For me, there's certainly resistance through the ankles and Achilles. I'm quite tight around that area. Just feeling your way deeper into the pose. And then if that already feels quite deep, you can stay here, or you can move it to your skater's pose, lifting up the left toes, coming up off the right heel. Option to bring the hands to the heart and find your balance. And again, finding your balance in this pose is really not something you can think your way into. You just feel your breath. Skandasana. Bringing the hands back down, coming back to that squat. Now, some of you will just stay here with the fingertips on the floor and the ankles slightly crossed. If you want a little bit more, You're going to bring the hands forwards. You're going to take the back foot off the floor and you're going to do some little push-ups, down and up. So your back foot is off the floor and you're on the ball of your front foot and you're just going, diving your head down between your thumbs and then pushing back up again. Good. And then we'll finish back up in our standing split where we came from. So making your way back into that balance. And to finish, we're going to come to standing, holding either the right knee or the right toe. So trust your body, trust your breath. Don't think too hard about how to get there. Just move there. And then slowly release. Great. Shake out the legs. We'll do all that on the other side. Bring the hands back to the heart. Let's inhale, the arms float up. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping the left leg back to runner's lunge. Option to lightly and quickly jump switch 4 times, finishing with the left leg back. Step the hands forwards and come up to your standing split. And then once again, just feel your way into a deeper variation here. Just feel what's holding you back. Breathe, soften, and slowly move your way into your full expression of a standing split. And then walking the hands forwards a little bit, let's come to that connector squat, tapping the ankle behind and dropping the hips. You're going to step the left foot out to the left and then bend the left knee, making sure your feet are parallel and grounded into the earth. You can either rest your hands or elbows on your knee, or you can keep your hands on the floor and then just work on getting the low into the hips. Again, feel your way down into the posture, sensing where the tightnesses are. And then moving into Skandasana if you want to go a little deeper, or you can just stay with the side squat. Great, and then coming back to your connector squat, so tapping that left ankle behind the right, bringing the hands forwards. Now if your elbows went out into press up, chest press ups, see if you can keep them into tricep push ups this time, or vice versa. So if they were moving out, they're now moving back. If they were moving back, they're now moving out. A few little connector press ups. And then finishing back in your standing split, feel your way into it again. And then slowly find standing, holding left knee or left big toe. Don't think your way into it, just feel your way into it. And then slowly release. Great, shake it all out. Well done, everyone. So let's reset at the front of the mat, and then we'll move down into some of our seated work. When you're ready, let's inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back to plank. And we'll just hold it there for a moment. Just feeling the strength through the core and through the shoulder girdle. And then you're just going to lower onto your elbows and come to forearm plank. Adjust your hips down by just tiptoeing the toes back a little bit, making your plank a little longer. Make sure that your elbows are directly under your shoulders, your belly pulled in. And then sinking the hips down, tucking the toes the other way, and opening into Sphinx. And just feel the back bend, both as it opens the spine, but also as it stretches into your abdominal area. Just stay there for a moment. I'm going to show you the next pose. You're going to come up to dolphin, so keeping the forearms grounded, you're going to pick up the hips. And then from dolphin, you're either going to come to plank, back to dolphin. If that's too much, you're just going to lift up one elbow at a time and move between dog and dolphin. If you're really hardcore, you want a bit more, you may move from dolphin to chaturanga and back to dolphin. So you're going to do 3 or 4 rounds of moving from dolphin to either dog, to plank, or to chaturanga, and then back to dolphin each time. In your own time, you exhale, you come forwards, you inhale, back into dolphin. Exhale, forwards to plank, chaturanga, or dog. Exhale, dolphin, one more time. And then from dolphin, just walk the feet back until you find yourself in forearm plank. And then we'll come back to Sphinx, dropping the hips and relaxing the upper body and taking a couple of breaths. And then we'll just stretch back into child's pose, bringing the knees under, reaching the arms forwards. And then we'll come back up to dog. And now you've got the option of, once again, moving between dog and dolphin. So that's either one elbow, 2 elbows and back, or maybe both together. Or if you want to take it a bit further, you're going to take a single-legged dog to dolphin, which would look like that. And you're going to do 2 on each leg, or you're going to do 4 all together. So in your own time, moving between dog and dolphin, or 3-legged dog to 3-legged dolphin. And then stretch it back into child's pose. Good, last one. We're going to come up to dog. And you're going to lower to dolphin and then shift forwards, push back and lift up, okay? So you drop down, you come forwards, push back and lift up. Now that's quite strong on the shoulders, so it may look like this. You're in dog, you drop the knees, you drop the elbows, and then you just come back up. So that's your modification, knees, elbows, elbows, knees. Otherwise, you drop the elbows, you push forwards, push back, and lift the elbows. So let's take 3 of those in your own time. Again, just working into the triceps and the shoulder girdle, building up some strength. And then we'll come back into hare pose or child. Hare pose, spreading the knees wide and dropping down. Chest to floor, stretching open the upper back.
And then we'll move cat through tunnel. So keeping your nose and chin as low to your mat as you can, you're going to slowly crawl the face between the hands until you're lying on your belly. And just see how close you can keep your head to the mat as you come. And then you're going to take your arms out wide. You just turn this way a little bit. Sit a bit. If you can see, the dog gets in the way. Bringing the arms out in front quite wide and the feet quite wide at the back. We did this last week, opposite. So arms up in front and exhale, lower. And then you lift the legs, inhale, exhale, lower. So keep the elbows and knees straight, inhale, lift, exhale, lower, and then lower body, lift and lower. So you can speed it up a bit, just making sure that each limb is like a plank of wood. There's no bend in the elbows, wrists, knees or ankles, and moving as you breathe. Good, and then just take a cushion, a pillow for your cheek, resting on your hands, and wriggle your hips out. And then, as we did last week, you're either going to take a swan dive, which is the same action, but you start in cobra in the upper body. So you inhale up, you exhale, reach everything out. Inhale, push up, exhale out, or you can take the full rocker. So you start with one of those, inhale, and then you catch your momentum and you rock on your pubis bone, using your back muscles and your abdominals to lift you up and down. So you've got options there, either swan dives or take the rocker. Try and get 10 of these. Okay, inhale up, let's go. And stretch it back when you've done your 10. And we'll move to downward facing dog from there, tucking the toes, pushing the hips up, and step or hop to sitting, and straighten the legs out in front. Feet flexed, Dandasana, hands by the hips, chin to chest, belly pulled in, shoulders rolling away from the ears, and just reset your breath for a moment. And if you haven't considered your conscious state for a while, with a lot of cerebral core work going on there, hard to be very intuitive when you're working your core. So let's just take a moment to settle back into our bodies. Notice how we've worked, where we've worked, and the sensations throughout. And we're going to work through Marajasana B and D. So picking up the right leg, you're just going to take a moment to open into the hip. I like to just push the knee back behind the hip a few times just to get some movement into the hip socket. And we'll start with a glute stretch. So crossing the ankle over the knee, taking the hands behind the back. And you're going to bend your left leg in and then start to walk the hip towards the heel to try and get that good stretch into the glutes. So make sure the spine is long. There's no collapsing or rounding of your back. You're supporting your weight in your hands, but you're also trying to press your chest towards your shin to create that stretch in the glute and hip. You're not feeling much, just bring the hips and heels, the hips and the bottom heel closer together. And then have a sense of pressing the right knee away from you. And then don't think anymore. Sense the pose. Breathe the resistance. Soften areas where there's tightness being held.
Good. And then make sure you straighten your left leg before you remove your right leg. If you want to go for full Marajasana B, I know some of you can take that pose. You're going to put your right foot in half lotus before you take your left leg into Marajasana. My knee won't go there on this side, so we're going to place the right foot on the floor as if it is in half lotus. So we're going to pretend it's in the hip crease. And then you take your left leg into Marajasana, hug the knee into the chest, lift and lengthen the spine. And then you're going to bring your left arm inside your left knee. Press the upper arm against the shin bone. The modification is to then take left hand to floor, right hand to knee, and leverage your head towards the floor using your arm strength. Of course, you've got the option to bind, where you turn the elbow up, wrap the left arm behind you, and catch your hands behind your back. And then you use the grip to pull the forehead to the floor. And then just be in the pose. This is a slightly awkward, difficult pose to get into, especially if you're in half lotus. It feels a little bit weird, a little bit uncomfortable. You can just move your way into it to try and find more depth. You're basically trying to lengthen the spine as much as you can from the root, all the way to the crown of the head. Trying to reach the crown of the head towards the floor. You're also thinking about grounding down through your left sitting bone, which will be lifting, but you want to get the sensation of pressing back the left sit bone to the floor. Also, if your left knee is falling out, you want to have a sensation of pulling it back towards your midline, using your inner thigh. And then just let go of that thinking process and just be in the pose. And then we'll slowly come up. And we'll move straight to Marajasana D. So the left hand goes behind the back. You're going to either hug, wrap, or hook the right arm around or outside the left knee. Before you twist, make sure you're long in your spine. So grow through the crown of your head as you inhale. As you exhale, start to twist the shoulders around. And then just be alive in the pose. You don't just want to stay static once you've found the twist. You want to let the breath keep the pose alive. It's just a continual, very subtle movement of twist as you exhale and length as you inhale. And then we'll release. Option just to switch sides or take an easy vinyasa. Just to release everything out. And then we'll take a hold of that left leg and begin to open it up. Just working the knee back, lengthening, stretching the hip. And then crossing the ankle over the knee and moving the right heel towards your hips, or moving your hips towards your right heel. And then getting that spine as long as possible. And moving your chest towards your shin. And moving your left knee away from you. And then just sense the restrictions in your hips, your buttock. Take the breath into the body. Allow it just to soften. Be very conscious of all that's happening. Great, and then a reminder to straighten the right leg first before you remove the left. Option to place the left leg in half lotus and move to full Marajasana B, or placing left foot in modified half lotus on the floor, right leg in Marajasana, hugging the knee into the chest to get length in the spine. And then you're either gonna, you're gonna bring the right arm inside, you're gonna hook the upper arm against the shin, and then you either catch the left knee in the left hand, right palm to floor, or take the bind, and then use your arms to draw your head towards the floor, trying to get a grounding down through your sit bones and a lengthening through your crown, with the spine growing longer between those 2 points, and then just settling back to your breathing. And then coming back up and looking for Marajasana D, modification, right hand behind the back, left hand hugs, left arm hugs or hooks the right knee. And then find length in the spine first as you inhale, and then twist as you exhale. And then maintain that idea of length and rotation as you breathe deeper into the pose. And then we'll release. And we'll stretch the legs out in front. And just taking a forward fold here to stretch out those back muscles. Great, and then we'll gently lie down onto our backs, hugging the knees into the chest for a moment. And then either with both knees bent or straightening out one leg first, just finish with a twist, taking one or both knees across to the floor. Just close the eyes for a moment. Notice your breath. And then switching sides. And then slowly make your way to Shavasana. Of course, we haven't done much of the finishing sequence. If you want to work your way into some back bends and shoulder stands before you take your relaxation, that's fine. Or you can move into your meditation at this point. And I'll leave you to finish your practice. And I'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Namaste.